Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Delta T Racing. It is a Thursday night, so it's time for Division 2, coming here from Melbourne, Australia for round number 2. Looking dry at the moment, have no idea what the weather's going to be like. We'll see if anybody can give us an update on that at some point. Right, okay, let's just check we are live. I think we are. Yeah, so we are up and running. Right, okay, so welcome round number 2. As you can see from the opening credits there on the table, let's just pop that up whilst we're waiting for the outlap to go. Hammer's leading the way, 26 points after picking up a win and fastest lap last week in Bahrain. Brother Adam picking up 18 points for second place, taking pole position, but just dropping a place in the race there down to second, but strong points for him. And Bogorovsky taking the last place on the podium, third, bringing home 15 points. So 41 points for the McLaren team. A very strong start by them, obviously 41 points. Aston Martin in second with 26 points, so a 15-point gap already. AlphaTauri on 14 in third place. Then we've got Mercedes, Red Bull, Alfa Romeo and Alpine. Still early doors, obviously the Ferrari team not scoring yet, but the brothers Berserk and Pac-Man unavailable last week, so their first race in Division 2 this week. I think they're going to be quite strong at the front. Okay, so we've got a fair few going out for an early run. Can do actually is jump just to Bogorovsky. Okay, so Albert Park, Melbourne, been the home of the Australian Grand Prix for many years now. So I remember them back in Adelaide, tyre blowout by Nigel Mansell coming down the straight there. But seems to have found its home at the moment around Albert Park. 29 laps we'll be seeing today. Quite difficult to overtake here. We've got, what's it, 1, 2, 3 DRS zones, but still quite difficult to overtake. You've really got to nail a lot of those turns to get a decent time on the board. And I missed Ralph putting a lap in. He must have been out early. And 19.2. So I think we're going to be dropping down into the 18s. How low down into the 18s we are going to get, I'm not sure. Yesterday I think we were 17.6, took pole position in Division 1, and some of the Division 2 guys are also more than capable of putting in a cracking time. So Bog here 120.176 for his opening lap, and Lakatsis, I should have stayed on with him actually, 18.887, so up into provisional pole position for him. Who do we have next? One of the Williams, it's Composite, it's going to cross 121.742. And I think, is it one of the Ferraris? Yep, Pac-Man just starting his lap, so it will be interesting to see what time he pops on the ball. Man like Donkey 18.858, just pipping Lakatsis onto provisional pole position. Got a double coming round the final corner now, as invalidated anyway. Then have the Aston Martin, I think of. I know it's now AlphaTauri. We've then got a Haas coming round, which can only be Barger, who's at an outlap. So very late to the lobby. We have Losidor in as well. He was a bit late joining, managed to jump straight from the shower into the race seat, and Barger could have done with a little bit more. But Hammers as well. Hammers is out. How did that happen? So we are a couple of minutes into qualifying and we've lost 2 drivers already. 3 drivers, man like Donkey also out now. Keep on the eye, Pac-Man He's aborted, so that's going to be a slow lap. He's recharging his ERS and will go again. Obviously invalidated, looking at that on the red map. So Scully put in a 32.8. So he did mention this isn't his favourite track. So I think a bit of patience and keeping yourself on the black stuff, you bring home good points from Australia. So double with a 19.5 there. Okay, who do we got? Pac-Man? No, he's further down. Oh, some of these reds are too similar for me. Not sure who that is. We've got one of the alphas, which it will have to be double. Oh, Scully it was, sorry, improving to a 19.5. So him saying yesterday that he was struggling a bit for pace, I think that was a bit of a faulty pie, or he's been practicing. But either way, good to see him up in 6th place. At the moment, Pavlosidor, as I said, will be drying his hair as he's going along. 19.1 for him, up into 4th place. Who do we have next? Is it Composite or Skipper on an outlet? Composite just improves to a 19.9. Pac-Man 19.314. So a conservative opening lap there from Pac-Man. I think he's certainly got more in him than that. Berserk will jump on board with, see how he gets on his flyer. I think a lot of drivers are potentially doing 2 laps. So whether it's a sort of 2 out laps and then a fast lap, I suppose a lot of it depends on if you mess up your initial one. There's the invalidation there for Berserk. So that time's not going to count. At a 22.6 anyway, would have put him, well, exactly where he is in fairness. So, okay, Bob Spun is going to come around and start a lap. I think he's going to be next because Pac-Man he's not got enough ERS. Pavlosidor could be on a lap. We'll just keep an eye on his sector time. Oh, well, we're coming into the final sector, 125. No, that's slow. So, okay, let's jump back with Bob and see how Bob gets on. See the cars getting out of the way there. Purple sector 2 from Bob. So this could be, I think he's certainly going to dip into the 18s, but how far? Bog with an 18.449. Completely missed that, Mr. Bogorovsky. That was a bit crafty. 0.4 of a second quicker than anybody else. Did very well last night actually in Division 1. I think taking 4th place. Very strong showing from him. Partnering up tonight with Hammers, who is out of qualifying, and Bob 18.285, bang, straight into pole position. Lucas is taking a bit of an alternate route there. Ralph, known Ralph for a very long time, can put in a good result, but often just gets tangled up in the midfield and loses sort of wings in a lot of places, and it's a bit downhill from there. But if you can get him up near the front, he's a pretty consistent driver. Right, and Ralph up to an 18.6. So who do we have next? Got on the Aston Martin. So it's brother Adam just starting his latest run. Obviously just over 7.5 minutes left. So he's still got time for a couple of runs if they're quick on that. Let's see who is the furthest round. I think it is Brother. No, it's Double. Or is it Connor? It's Connor. Let's stick on board with Connor just in the final sector here. So much time can be lost and gained going through these corners. Lock it through the gears early. Get that traction drive to the line. And we're at an 18.748, so up in the 4th place there. So Double, how is he gonna do? And 18.831 up into 5th place, so good showing there by Double. And we have, that's not Connor, it was Brother Adam, 18.857, so not quite on the pole position pace that he had last week in Bahrain, but still more than capable of putting in a good result. Right, okay, so Berserk, yeah, I'm just trying to find where everybody is. Sorry, Berserk just about to start his final lap. That's it, with an 18.2. So the lead is changing lap after lap after lap. Who's going to be next? Is it Scully? Scully's on an out lap, but keep an eye on Scully, see how he gets on. Next will be Pac-Man, who is on an out lap. Connor is on a slowdown. Then we have the Alpine of Pavlosidor. So just a 10th up on his best time so far, so about 19.2, looking at where he is at the moment. Let's see if he can gain anything through these final corners. And he doesn't know, so round about the same kind of time. Okay, Double next. Is he doing a second run? No, he is into the pits. Excuse me. Who do we have? We've got a couple of Williams just about to start a lap. Pac-Man, no, it was Berserk, wasn't it? Just grabbing him, so 19.6 for Berserk there. How's his brother doing? Oh, Pac-Man. Where's Scully? He's a bit further round, just coming into the final corner now. It looks like Bog is on an out lap, wanting to regain that pole position if he can. Scully 19.5, I think he switched off halfway through that lap. Let's see how Bog gets on. Pac-Man in the pits. I'm just trying to see who is on a lap. I think Berserk is on a slowdown lap. So Bog is the main person out on a lap at the moment, so it will pretty much be his last chance here. Obviously, if he does make a mistake on this one, he can slow down, recharge his battery and go again. He's not really going to have time to come into the pits, put a fresh set of softs on. So this is pretty much Bog's last effort, and track will evolve ever so slightly over the last couple of minutes, but not by a huge amount. Purple sector 2 there by Bog, but still, oh, and hasn't invalidated, but has gone wide there. That's really gonna mess up that lap. Bog, looks like Bog has disconnected. Could have been something to do with the going wide there. If he disconnected, could be a wheel issue, could be a network problem. Look, I think I might have to invite him back if I can. Bear with me just one moment. Right, so I've invited him back. So right, let's jump back out and see who else is out on track. Gets just a bit further round. Skipper is going to be across the line. Does improve on his time up to 11th place with a 19.278. I think his teammate was next who has aborted and got into the pits. Bob Spun just about to start probably his final lap of the day. Who is next? Double. So no, Scully. So 0% ERS. So I think either an in lap or, well, he's invalidated anyway, so it doesn't actually matter. Look at this. So Bob is on a lap. Car nicely getting out of the way there. Skipper on a lap as well. Is he a bit further? No, he's further back that way. So sorry, jumping back and forth. Just trying to find the next person across the line. Which looks like it's going to be Bob. Last time we followed him, he plonked it straight onto pole position with an 18.285 straight out of the box as his only time so far. So a pretty good banker in second place. If he's got more, now is the time to show it. But I've completely missed the sector time, so I don't know if he is up or down. It takes pretty good line, gets good drive coming out of the final corner down to the start finish line. We'll see what the clock stops at. Needs an 18.2 and he's got an 18.119 taking provisional pole position. So a cracking lap there by Bob Spum. So next up, who do we have? Connor's just starting. Velocitor. Right, who we going to jump on with then? Who are the likely ones to take this away? Bog into the pit, so that is not going to change. Lacazzi, whereabouts is he coming around the final couple of turns now? See if he can snatch that pole position back. Here we are approaching, and no, he's not going to. He is down on time, but he's aborted looking at that, so he is now going for a last run. Managed to do it with about 8 to 10 seconds to spare. Okay, so they're coming hand over fist now. Ralph is going to be next across the line. Can he improve? He cannot. We've got a few aborting coming in. Berserk next across the line. Can he improve? As 19.6. He does to a 19.4, but only up one place, just ahead of Composite. So Bob now into the pits. Connor has invalidated, so that's the end of this race. Brother Adam, purple sector 2. So Brother Adam coming around the final corner now. We'll see what time he can put on the board, whether he can improve on his 18.8. He can. 18.5 pops himself up into 4th place. So we've got double is the last person on a lap. I didn't see what time he posted, but I certainly don't think it was pole position. But does take 5th position, so cracking qualification there by double. So here we go. Tonight's grid, Bob Spun taking a well-deserved pole position with an 18.119 in the Red Bull. Lacazzi with a great performance by him, second in the Alpine. We got Bogorovsky picking up 3rd place. Brother Adam 4th, then 5th double. 6th, Ralph Albers. 7th, Havoc Goner. 8th, Man Like Donkey. In 9th, Pavlosidor. 10th, Scully. 11th, Skipper. 12th, Pac-Man. 13th, Berserk. 14th, Composite. Then we have the early incidents taking them out of qualifying of Hammers and Bajapanti, who will be starting. So they'll be on the back row of the grid. Sometimes not a bad place to be with the carnage that can happen at turn number 1. Hopefully not tonight, but we will wait and see.
You can hear the Australian fans roaring as they line the track here in Albert Park. Welcome to Melbourne, and the roar from the crowd can only mean one thing. It's race day. We go racing today then in the state of Victoria, where the drivers have 14 corners and 3.28 miles to navigate at an average lap speed of around 120 miles per hour. The close proximity of the barriers make accidents inevitable, and recent history shows us that a safety car is not at all out of the question.
Well, welcome back everyone. We're just waiting for the players at the moment, just choosing their strategy. Still had no update on the weather, so I can only assume, looking at it so far, that it's going to be dry. Let's have a quick look at the tyres. No, don't want that one. In here, tyres. So Bob going with the softs at the front, so he's going to be a rapid getting away. So I can see him building up an early lead, but those softs are not going to last too long. The game reckons about 12 laps and then 17 laps for the mediums. I'll be honest, I think that's a bit of a stretch. You certainly will be suffering from degradation towards the end of that stint, and the medium tyres are going to become way quicker, so any advantage you had built up is likely to go. But quite a few safety cars come out of Australia. I expect a couple tonight, so that's going to scrunch the field up. But yeah, so we've got a bit of a different selection. They've got a couple on hards, which was Man Like Donkey in 8th and Pac-Man in 12th. Pretty much the top 7 on mediums, other than Bob Spun on the softs. And then, yeah, pretty much the rest of them on softs, other than Skipper and Berserk. So some interesting tyre strategies there. We'll see how they pan out as the race goes on. Why is Lukatsis overtaking on to this formation? That it's not actually allowed, unless there was an incident where Bob spun. But yeah, you're supposed to keep the formation on the formation lap. I think the clue is in the name of that one. But moving on, so Bob Spun will be the first car on the grid. We'll have slightly hotter tyres than the Katsis now, who seems to be very impatient, wants to get on with this. Is already just doing a couple of burnouts and then approaching his pit box, which he has now. Bob is pretty much in, hoping for a decent camera, but I'm not going to hold my breath here. So last round is going to be Bajapanti and Hammers. Hammers starting in 15th, championship leader at the moment. He will work his way up through the field, but it's not the easiest place to overtake. Okay, so we are not going to get a decent, so we're going to have to jump on board. We're going to jump on board with Double. It's lights out and away we go. And a pretty good start there by Double. An awful one, but I think it's Connor on the inside there. And now as we're approaching down into turn 1, seem to have got round it pretty incident free. There might have been a little bit of contact, but nothing too major. But Bob Spun has kept the lead. Bog up a place into 2nd place. Connor having a bit of a tumble fight there with Pavlosidor, I think it was, or was it Ralph? We've got a few cars just going a little bit offline. Difficult to judge your braking point when you've got someone in front of you. Scully dropping down a couple of places, I think, just getting bullied out of a couple of positions there. So sorry, I'm not quite sure what to follow, but we have a nice little gaggle of cars going on here, and Scully. Oh! Scully is at the front wing, gone. No, Scully seems okay. We've got a virtual safety car. Scully's wing looks okay. Hammers? Yeah, his wing's there. I'm sure I saw some carbon fibre come off, but perhaps oh, I think it is the Ferrari or Pac-Man. Yes. Unfortunately, it looks like Pac-Man might have got into the back of Scully there, so losing his front wing. But right, back at the front, still under the virtual safety car at the moment, but Bob Spun with a 1 second lead over Bogorowski. Obviously, the soft tyres of Bob Spun will be quicker to start with. But he's only going to have an advantage for about 3 or 4 laps, so really needs to make them count. Bog up into second place, overtaking the Katsis at the start, as missed that with the battling that was going on in midfield. So the Katsis down one, then double is up one, Ralph, and Connor up one, then Pav, Skipper up two. So the biggest gainer out of it really, Berserk up into 9th from 13th. Still under virtual safety car apparently, although it does look like they're actually racing. No, they're still under Delta. That's fair enough. Okay, so it looked like they were racing for a minute, and we are racing now. So Bajar Panty picking up a drive-through penalty there for speeding under the virtual safety car. So at the back of the grid anyway, so it's one thing you just pretty much want to serve that straight away. So let's keep an eye on the battling going on. Keep an eye on Hammers, see how he can make his way up the grid, already up 3 places. But you can get the DRS train here, which is just not helpful at all. So Connor picking up the fastest lap, 32. Bog and Lekatsis battling side by side going in turn one. Looks like the Katsis has got that second place back, but Bog's not going to fret on that. He's just going to sit there and he'll wait for the appropriate time, recharges the ERS. So Man Like Donkey in 10th. Right, let's get rid of those position changes now. So a quick reminder of the tyres, because so the soft tyres, we're going to be looking at Pavlosador and Bob out of the leading group that are going to want to stop first. Got some nice battling going on here. Man Like Donkey, Brother Adam with Hammers just behind, looking to take advantage of any misfortune in front, and it looks like he's going to make his way. He has passed Man Like Donkey. Man Like Donkey going a bit wide there, just getting a little bit out of shape. So Hammers up into 11th. Brother Adam also making the overtake up into 10th, and we got the Katsis out. Looks like he has binned that onto the start-finish line. Or the start-finish straight, so perhaps went a little bit wide on the left, which has then tossed him round. Safety car is out. And that's still saying virtual safety car, but that is certainly a safety car behind. Just there. Scully pits, put a new front wing on. Must have a penalty as well, 5-second penalty. So I can serve that and get that out of the way. So first retirement of the day is Lekatsis. Unfortunate for him after a strong qualifying and early battling with Bog really. And being on the tail of Bob's bum, but as I say, looked like perhaps he got on the throttle just a little bit too harsh and a little bit too early, coming out of the final corner, perhaps touched the curbing on the outside, or the back wheels have just taken him round, but into the wall there in the end of his race today. So this will be helping Bob, obviously on those soft tyres. A couple of safety cars early on. We're looking at, you know, potentially 3-4 laps behind a safety car. Is going to put a lot more tyre life back into those softs. Still looking at another 8 or 9 laps before he would be pitting to go onto the mediums. Obviously could ditch them early and go on to a set of hards to the end of the race. Okay, so Hammers is into the pits. So he's getting rid of those softs that he started on. What's he going to do? Is he going to go hards and go long, or he's going to go medium? So 25 laps, not going to take those to the end, my friend. But you will be bloody quick now. So comes back out into 11th place, with Pac-Man just behind him, Composite and Scully at the back there. So Scully probably in a good place, as I say, just to keep himself out of mischief at the back. Just keep going, pick up those points. Already in, you know, sort of 14th place. I need a few more to drop out, and picking up points. Was unlucky not to get points in Bahrain. Had a very strong showing for Scully in Bahrain, and was pretty much inside the points for majority of the race. But unfortunately, a couple of incidents just dropping him down a bit. Can't remember where he came in there. I think it might have been 11th, but he's just outside the points. But certainly it's good to see the improvement. Okay, back at the front, Bob has led from the off so far. Bog moved past Lacazis early on into second and just dropped behind him again. Obviously with Lacazis now out. Baja Panti is out as well. Is that retirement in the pits? I think that might have been a retirement in the pits, but I won't judge because I didn't see it. Okay, so safety car is coming in. Bob Spun will be the de facto pace car. He will decide when to go normally out of these turns, which is where you can, well, no one can get traction, but he's... Oh, this is going to be a mess now because they're all going to be told to give the position back. Bob Spun went wide and then pretty much spun off. So we are, all hell's going to break loose behind now. Bog has kept hold of second place. A little bit of contact further back. Not sure if Hammers was involved in that. I think he's managed to keep his front wing. But Pac-Man jumping up a couple of places there into 8th place, so looking strong. His brother up into 4th, so really good early showing from those. So right, let's jump back to the front and follow what's going on there. Obviously Bob Spun on those softs, gets a bit of heat into him a little bit earlier and will sprint away. Bog just needs to keep as close to him as he can, ideally within that DRS, which he just is now. He's managed to break double behind him now, 1.7 seconds further back. Hammers and brother Adam exchanging. Jesus, that's 3 wide. Oh, saw a man like Donkey chopping his nose off then. I could see an incident, but luckily not. Pavloster having a bit of a moment, putting over to the side just to keep out of the way. Bob Spun has a penalty. That must have been for corner cutting, I think. What's up with Pavlosidor? Seems to be... I don't know if he might have wheel issues or just not going well. Sometimes the lack of motivation issue is sometimes the case. Here we come into the pits. Are we looking at a retirement in the pits? We'll find out, but Bog staying a bit further back. Pac-Man going very deep into that corner, gaining a couple of positions, but losing them again, so I would only surmise that he completely missed his braking point there. I say it is very difficult around this track. It's a bit like Canada as well, really. It's you have to know your braking points. If you're going just off the braking, off of the racing line, you will come unstuck, because the problem is it's they creep up very quickly, and with a car in front of you, You don't see it until late. You can't react. You're already too late into that braking zone. So it really is a good place to start sort of testing your brain a bit, looking at sort of braking markers, or you know, sort of getting yourself used to where to brake rather than relying on that racing line. Otherwise, you'll end up going wide or careering into the backside of somebody. So Hammer's recovering nicely up into 5th place. So I would do pop the tyres up just so we can see what everybody is on. I mean, it's a plethora of Hammers up the inside of Berserk there as well. Berserk looking at losing another place now to Connor just behind. Let's drop back and see it from Pac-Man's point of view, because it should be a good view there. So we've got the 2 Ferraris now lying astern in 6th and 7th. Hammer's recovering from qualifying 15th up into 4th. And I'm sure he will be on a charge now to get past Double and then catch up with his teammate and try and put maximum damage on Bob at the front. But Bogorovsky now within half a second, well, within the second of Bob's fun, so DRS is enabled. Bog didn't get a great drive out of the chicane there, so he's dropped 1.3, needs to close that down now before the next detection zone, otherwise he's not going to have it down the start-finish line. Berserk is past Connor, so Berserk up into 5th place. I think Pac-Man is going to be all over Connor here, looking to make a move at the end of this straight, or certainly the next straight going down to turn 4. But Berserk coming under pressure and being overtaken by Connor, just showing the power of the DRS and slipstream down the start-finish line. Because I thought Pac-Man was going to go for a move on Connor, but it ended up with Connor going for a move on Berserk, actually making a position. So Bog has dropped off 3.5 seconds. So Bob has either pulled the pin or... No, I think Bob's made a mistake, because he is within... Pac-Man's out. Pac-Man's out. Why is Pac-Man out? On the right-hand side. How did he get the right-hand side? Yeah. So we have a safety car. Just trying to see Pac-Man up on the right, so he must have just touched that curb going around the right-hander, so again thrust him into the wall. So 1 Ferrari out, we are down to 13 runners. Oh, I think Bob might have disconnected. Let me send him a couple of invites, but yeah, it looks like Bog might have disconnected. We've got some weird penalties going on here. I'm sure I just saw Bob spun. Well, now he's got fastest lap after being in the pits and getting a 5-second penalty for hitting Bogorovsky. And I've just got a safety car in this lap come up, which is in, we're still in what, sector 1? Just trying to make sure Bob can get back in. Oh! Double. Oh, Double is out under safety car. Ay, 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 ay. So is Bog back in is the question. So 0.3 behind. I say unfortunately gone onto the hards now. I don't think that was a choice of his. But so is the safety car in this lap or not? And who's got what penalties? I'm totally confused by this. Because Bob Swan's now got 8 seconds of penalties for a collision with Bogorovsky and gaining 2 places. I'm not quite sure how that happened. So hopefully he doesn't need to pit again. Obviously the stewards can look at that and remove the 5 seconds if it was unfair. Right, hopefully Bog is back in. I think he is, but I'm not 100% sure. Just going to send him another invite just in case. I might even press the right button for that one day. Right. Okay, well, a teammate Hammers in the lead now has jumped his way back up. After the safety cars, finds himself in first position. Bog's still in fourth, so with that disconnection, I think he's probably not going to be happy with the hards, but maybe it might have been his choice. I'm not 100% sure. But either or, he can now take those to the end of the race. Right, so we have 4 retirements: the Catsis, Baja Panty, Pac-Man, of course the last safety car, and Double, who DNF'd under the last safety car. I'm not quite sure what happened there. I wonder if he might have had a helping hand from somebody behind, unfortunately pushing him round into the barrier, but we will see. So safety car is now coming in this lap. Bog, I hope you are back in. So right, when's Hammers are gonna go? He's gone. He's lit the touch paper, so he's gone. We've got the Red Bull of Man Like Donkey, 3/4 of a second back. Looks like Bog has managed to get a good jump, so I think he might be back in the car. Fingers crossed anyway. But yeah, so Hammers has already pulled out a second on Man Like Donkey. What are the tyre differences there? Soft to, yeah, medium to hard, so that would account for a bit, but not nearly 2 seconds. He is gone. So Bog coming under pressure from Bob Spun, but managing to hold on to that position. I do hope that is Bogorovsky. Bob Spun looking at a move around the outside there, and does indeed take 4th place. So Bog nearly losing another bit. I still don't think this, I'm not sure if this is Bog or not. I'm not sure if he is back in the race, but you see his teammate Hammers has bolted nearly 3 seconds clear, so obviously he's going to have the shorter lifespan on those mediums, potentially will need to pit again. Donkey driving, or coming under pressure, composite. Bob Spun just behind now, will want to get past hopefully his teammate. If they work together, they could pull themselves along and close that gap to Hammers. They certainly need to work at that. But both on the hards. Bob Spun obviously 3-lap old hards, opposed to Man Like Donkey's race starting tyre that he's still on. Trying to find out if Bog's it in or not. So I'm not sure he is, tumbled down into 7th place. So no, Bog isn't in yet. He's actually rebooting at the moment, so that's why there's going to be a few, you know, a loss of places there, unfortunately. So DRS now enabled. And we've got a virtual safety car. Missed what happened there, sorry, apologies. I'm just trying to get a driver back in. See if we can figure out what potentially happened there. So Bog's still in 7th. Hopefully he'll jump back in soon. But yeah, not quite sure what that virtual safety car was for. But we are go again, so Hammers gets the drop there. What's happened at the back here? I think Man Like Donkey completely missed the start because he's lost 2 positions to Bob and Berserk, and Hammers has pulled out a 6.5 second gap now. So yeah, I think Man Like Donkey completely missed it. They're kind of looking at having a nibble at the back of Composite now, wants that 5th place, keep himself on the back. Obviously Man Like Donkey just ahead, will want to make that position if he can. And then look at trying to get past Berserk. Obviously Bob spun not far up the road either. Good exit there by Connor, I think he might. Problem is they both got DRS, so but he is going to close in here. Certainly, he's got a pretty decent amount of ERS as well. So still 15 laps, including the one that we are on left. There's no point rushing it. Bog now a couple of seconds behind, but is starting to close in. I'm not sure if he is back in, which is why it's closing in, or whether it is just because we've got this battling going on in front. Oh, Connor nearly hitting the back there as to take avoidance, so cuts the corner a bit there. Probably get a warning for that, but it was the right thing to do not to hit the back of Composite. Pavlovsky picking up a 3-second time penalty, and Bogorovsky now just a second behind this group again, so has closed it down. This battle in front is going to get through. I also notice behind Bog we've got Ralph as well, so we've got a nice little midfield sector here. Bob Spun is starting to put a dent into that lead of Hammers, so I think we're 6.4 at one point, we're down to 5.3. Obviously those mediums are going to start getting towards the end of their life, whereas those 6-lap-old hards have still got an awful long way to go, or a long way they can go. Composite in front is out of ERS, down under the 10%, that's why his rear light is flashing. So Bog will be in a good position to make the move down the start-finish line, but he's got to be careful, as I say, Ralph just behind him. Right, into the pits, who was that? Man Like Donkey is ditching those 15-lap-old hards, and will be jumping onto a nice set of soft, medium tyres, I would have thought, for the remainder of the race. He does indeed go on the mediums. I think it's just too much of a stretch on the softs. It is doable, but you have to be so careful and so tentative. It's just not really worth the risk. So Bog back up into 5th place. Bob spun in 2nd, has that gap down to under 5 seconds now. So really is starting to assert the pressure on to Hammers in front. So Ralph and Composite battling away here. Ralph dropping just past the 2nd behind Bog now, was right behind him, so he's now just dropped sort of over a 2nd behind, so he's going to find himself under a bit of pressure from the Williams of Composite just behind. Pavlosidor also in the Alpine, not doing too badly in 8th, just a further 2nd down the road, but with penalties as well. So Hammers has got a penalty. What do we have penalty-wise? 3 second and an 8 second and a 6 second for Pavlosidor. Right, so the field's kind of spread out a little bit. We've got a couple of close battles, but it's sort of, we're getting to that point now where it's starting to spread to the 2nd out between the cars. Brother Adam saying that, Brother Adam making a move. Is it Skipper? Very easy move if it was. He's absolutely bolted past him, but just seeing the overtakes all happening in the market. Oh, it's because he's in the pits, that's why. Why can't I see that? Because of the penalties being up. I think that's why. I said the game's not been very friendly tonight. We've had so it's given penalties out, which I'm not sure were justified. Also told us the safety car was coming in just as it was going through turn 1. Right, let's have a look. We've, as I say, the gaps have spread out now. I say we're sort of over a 2nd between everybody. So I think race might have just sat down into a bit of a rhythm. But you've also got people who have been sort of recharging their ERS, or as Bog has, recovering from a disconnection, as they was just pretty much in a position to take the lead. As soon as he got a disconnection issue, dropped all the way down to, I think it was 7th or 8th place, but worked his way back up to 5th, and now on the back of Connor in front of him. Moonlight Donkey fastest lap 21.8, also making a move. 5 seconds behind. Right, okay, so he's jumped back to Bog, who is the closest battle that we've got on track. He has managed to drop Ralph now 1.9 seconds behind, so well outside of that DRS zone. Bog is picking up the DRS and will draw himself ever closer to Connor. But he'll line up his move and do it strategically. I don't think it'll be at the end of here. It's likely to be into turn 1 or turn 4, knowing Bog. It just depends on what his exit is like compared to Connor's in front of him. Scully picking up a 3 second time penalty there. Bog now picking up the DRS. I don't think he's interested in the tow at the moment. I don't think he wants to go for the overtake, but this is going to compromise Connor hugely. I thought Bog was going to go for the switch back there with Connor out of position, would have got a good run around the outside, but I think the positioning was just totally wrong there. Man Like Donkey putting in another fastest lap of the race, so he's finding those mediums to his liking. Right, let's jump back up. I missed Bogorovsky getting past. Now he's past Connor, but Connor's not going to give up, wants to make the move here, but Bog with the DRS manages to just pull himself away quite nicely, and you'll notice they are closing in on Berserk. Gap to them, to him now is 2 seconds. There's Connor gone into the pits. So now let me get rid of these penalties because I can't see who is going into the pits. So Connor coming in for a late spurt on the soft, so he'll be looking for fastest lap of the race, and also just try and make his way up some positions if he can. Has DRS as well. Right, okay, so let's stay on board with Bog. Seems to be the exciting one at the moment. Now under 2 seconds from Berserk, so looking at closing that down. Bob's spun also with that 8 seconds of penalty, but I do think there's potential that 5 of them might get removed if he doesn't pit again. But that will be one for the stewards, and obviously for Bob Spun himself to send a case into the stewards along with a copy of his race director, just to show that he didn't serve it. And if they feel it was unfair, they will revoke that and reinstate the 5 seconds. But he's managing to just keep himself within that, around about that 2 second mark of Bogorowski now. So I think barring any late incidents, this could well be our finishing order. Obviously Hammers with that 3 second time penalty as well. So Bob Sput's still racing for the victory. It's not as if he's going to give up with those 8 seconds. Going to say if he can get 5 back, he'll have the same amount of penalties as Hammers. So if he can beat him on track, he will take his first race win of season 9. So first, we've only had 1 race already, but always sounds better. But Ralph doing well in 5th position as well. Kind of picking up 3 seconds time penalty, but up into 9th. I'll expect to see a fastest lap from him flag up any minute now. And Donkey has closed in on the back of Skipper, so looking to take that 7th place. Woo. Round the outside, inside, switch back, he's gone, Skipper's gone completely wide there. So Mellor Donkey putting him under pressure, and looked like Skipper cracked a bit, just went a bit wide. Obviously 14 lap old hards are not helping against 5 lap old mediums, far superior grip. And the other Williams of Composite losing a place to Pavlosidor, so not a great lap for the Williams team there. But one person has been a good lap for us. Bog got that gap down to 1.3, so he's closed in 0.6 of a second. So DRS is pretty similar. Bog's probably got a little bit more stored than Berserk, but Berserk will be using that strategically to defend. But Bog now just nearly within that 1 second window that he needs. In fact, he's got DRS. Let's go, Bog. Havoc and Skipper changing places. So we've got some nice battles going on. It's not as if everybody has given up. Ralph picking up a 3 second time penalty there. Obviously feeling a little bit left out that he didn't have one. But now joins a bunch of others. Going to jump back to Bog here because he's now got that gap down to 0.8. We'll have DRS along here, so he's going to have this gap down to about 0.4 of a second by the end of the start finish line. Berserk is using a lot of ERS to just try and pull himself out of that DRS zone from Bogorowski, just so he's got a chance of... There we go, Connor, 21.039. Fastest lap of the race, and he's back up into 8th place. got Man Like Donkey in front of him, and then Brother Adam Ralph, and just a bit too far up the road, I think, with 5 laps to go at the end of this one. But you never know. Bob pulls it back to within 6/10. Bob 2.5 seconds behind Hammers. Hammers pretty much had it under control since the last safety car. I think starting 15th on the grid as well, with the unfortunate accident early in qualifying, not able to set a time. Berserk in front really struggling on those hards now. Looks like Bob might have looked after his a little bit better. So Bog's certainly storing his ERS compared to Berserk, who is pretty much close to being down to that 10%. But he's having to use it to defend. We have a yellow flag. Why do we have a yellow flag? Because Velocitor and Composite have had an incident going into turn number 1, but they've managed to keep going, so we've not got a safety car. We'll stick back with Bog, which seems to be the main battle, but Connor as well closed right up on the back of Man Like Donkey now, so it really does have superior pace on these softs. Just ducks out of that move. Pretty sensible, to be honest. There's far better places to do it, and still enough laps left to go. So I think Brother Adam might be a little bit too far up the road. But then who's that? Maybe. Here we go. Connor looking for a move up the inside of turn number 1 and moves himself up into 7th place around Man Like Donkey. So Man Like Donkey down into 8th. But I don't think he's given up yet. Is he going to go for a return move? He's not. So Connor keeping that position. Now got his teammate of Brother Adam just ahead of him. Jumping back to Bog, we are within half a second of the Ferrari in front. So McLaren will be looking for their second double podium of the season, and Bog does make the move up the inside. Looks like that was DRS and ERS assisted. Sorry, I'm completely lost for words there. But he has made it past Berserk. So Berserk now, if he's sensible, would look at doing exactly what Bog's been doing for the last few laps. Sit behind and use the DRS, recharge your ERS, and make a move. But we have 2 laps to go. No, 3 laps including the one that we're on, sorry. Bog's still not using his ERS at the moment. Don't think he feels that he needs to. But at the front, Bob has got that gap down to 1.3 seconds. Hammers might not be too bothered because of the 8 seconds, but he needs to bear in mind that potential 5 seconds of that could be removed. So still needs to win this on track. I don't believe the penalties have changed. In fact, we'll jump to the penalties now because everything else is, well, it's just, doesn't really matter now. But Bog 10 seconds behind Bob Spun. If he can close that into within a couple of seconds, potentially Bog could end up with 2nd place. But McLaren picking up a 1 and 3 last week could be an exact replica of that this week for him. Doubling to 82 points for McLaren in the championship if that does happen. But Connor is past his teammate. Oh, I didn't notice he had that 9 seconds penalty. Mind you, he's only going to drop a couple of places. He'll drop behind man like Donkey, I think, so drop down into 8th position, so not the end of the world. So Berserk staying on the back of the McLaren of Bogorowski as well, has not given up on this position yet. So with the DRS, we'll be using that to just keep himself within check of Bogorowski. Oh my God, Bob Spun going for the move. My God, what has happened? I think Hammer's tyres have probably fallen off a cliff now. But he hasn't given up. He's keeping it on the inside there. The move by Bob Spun. So I think Hammer's tyres are really starting to struggle now compared to the hards of Bob Spun. Right, let's keep an eye on what's going on. So Bog still under pressure from Berserk. Berserk has certainly not gone away as we enter that last lap of the race. So it is now do or die for Hammers, and pretty much the same for Berserk. He's looking at trying to snatch that last podium position. It's not going to get him here, so he's jumped back to Hammers, see if he can close in and overtake Bob Spun just in the final. Okay, out to the point, we've got 2/3 of a lap left to go. So Hammers is going to win it because of those penalties, but we've got to bear in mind that there is potential 5 seconds of that might be removed. Berserk and Bog behind, penalty free so far. So kudos to them. It's not an easy track to get around without any penalties. So man like Donkey, Brother Adam and Skipper as well not having any penalties. So right, let's get back to the front here. I think the victory on track has gone for Hammers unless we get a mistake in the final sector. Man like Donkey has made his way up past the inside of Connor as well. I don't think Connor was going to fight that too hard considering he has 9 seconds of penalties. But Bob Spun is going to cross the line to win this race on track. Hammer's going to come home in second. Bog is going to recover after a couple of disconnects to finish in 3rd place. So a 1-3 for the McLaren team. Ferrari getting the first points of the season and 4th with Berserk. Ralph coming home for a well-deserved, I think it's going to be 6th because Man Like Dog is going to jump ahead of him because of penalties. Then we have Brother Adam in 7th. I'm just waiting for Connor's penalties to settle. Yeah, Connor does pick up 8th position. I think he also got fastest lap of the race. Skipper picking up 9th. Then we're just waiting for Pav to come across the line to pick up 1.4 tenth. Composite will be in 11th, 8 seconds of penalties. Crosses the line now in 11th, but is he going to keep it? Yeah, Scully, unfortunately. Had a bit of a struggle this race, but he did say yesterday that he was off the pace here and didn't feel like it was going to be his race. But all I can say, Scully, at the end of the day, mate, you finished. P12 doesn't matter, you finished. So well done for that. Okay, well, good race. A few little incidents that might need discussing with the stewards, etc. afterwards, but we'll wait and see. Driver there going to Hammers, obviously, for pretty much a back of the grid start to win the race due to the penalties, unfortunately given a Bob Spun. But a great weekend again for the McLaren team, picking up 1st and 3rd, so I'd say another 41 points. That's going to extend to 82 points in the championship. They're going to have quite a big lead at this early stage. But both found themselves in trouble today and fought back hard, fair, right tyre, right strategy, right place, right time to pick up 1st and 3rd. So we run through Hammers taking the victory with Bob Spun in second, unfortunately with those penalties. I say that could be looked at, so potentially that could come back. Bog taking third place. Then in fourth, we got Berserk Man Like Donkey in fifth. Sixth was Ralph Alba. Seventh, Brother Adam. Eighth, Havoc Connor, also picking up the fastest lap, so an extra point for him today. Skipper getting ninth. Pav picking up the final point for 10th. 11th goes to Composite. Scully in 12th. Then we've got the DNFs of Double, Pac-Man, Baja, Panty, and Lakatsis. Hadn't actually finished talking, but thank you ever so much for joining me tonight. I hope you've enjoyed it. Round number 2, as I said, we've got another 8 rounds to go. Our next race next Thursday, we will be at Mexico City. So is it the Autodromo Hermano Rodriguez, I believe it is called. So for round number 3, same time, same place next week for Division 2. Obviously, next Tuesday, we also have our Gran Turismo League starting. So round number 1, we've got 16 drivers signed up for that. So that'll be exciting to see how that goes. Division 1 will be back next Wednesday at 8 o'clock, same place at Mexico. And I'll be here on Thursday for Division 2. So thanks ever so much for joining in. I hope you have a lovely weekend. Take care of yourself, and I'll see you next week. Take care all. Good night.